We're never going to stop until killer cops are in cell blocks. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Justice for Tyrone West.
Justice for Tyrone West.
Justice for all victims.
You know, during the later years of the Obama administration and during this first year of the Trump administration, the number of people killed by the police around the United States has remained essentially consistent, between 1,100 and 1,200 a year. So if you take 1,150 as a sort of a compromise number, and you divide that by 52 weeks, we come out with, just between last West Wednesday, 1 week ago, and West Wednesday today, we come out with 22 people are likely to have been killed by the police somewhere in the United States. That's the average number. So I'd like us to take a moment of silence now and think about the 22 people that lost their lives in just the last week. Now, as many of us know, this problem has gone on for a long time. The first police force in the United States had as its duty catching runaway slaves. That was its one and only duty, catching runaway slaves, brutalizing them to make an example, and trying to enforce the slave system. It's not that different now. We jump forward from that to the 1890s during the Jim Crow period, and there were about 40 people lynched to death per, let me get it right now, 40 per week. Anyway, it was much less. I'm sorry, I got a little hazy on the number, but it was much less than the 1,100 people, or between 1,100 and 1,200 people being killed per year now. That's a 120-year span of time, and the problem has gotten worse. Now, the police kill white folks too, they kill Latino folks too, but if you're African American, the likelihood of you being killed is 5 times higher. 5 times higher. So this is a systemic problem. In my mind, it's the capitalist system. It needs to discipline the workforce. They know that black people in the United States, especially the black working class, are the most likely to rebel, the most likely to stand up and fight back. And we can witness that easily in our own lives. Look at the rebellion after Freddie Gray was killed. And who led that? And who made great sacrifices with people still in jail over that? So it's a system that needs repression. It's a system that needs racism. And we need a different system. Now this month is very special. November 2017, this is the 100th anniversary of the Russian Revolution. It actually happened in October, but it was a different calendar. So by our calendar, it happened this month. The Russian Revolution led to several wonderful things. A woman who was working would have a daycare center right on the job. She would have lunch and a morning break and an afternoon break like every other worker, but on top of that, she could have a half hour extra in the afternoon and a half hour extra in the morning to play with her baby, to nurse that baby. Women's rights move forward astronomically. Leading black intellectuals, particularly communist black intellectuals, went to the Soviet Union and were inspired. Langston Hughes, the poet, went and lived there for a year. W.E.B. Du Bois visited. Paul Robeson visited. And they all said, this was during Jim Crow in the United States when they went in the 30s and 40s, they said, it's phenomenal. We have a part of the world now that believes in equality and illegalizes, were there such a word, racism. They were the main force that defeated the Nazis. People like Trump and the alt-right, they defeated them in World War II. The first battle where the Nazis lost was Stalingrad. 1 million Russian soldiers died in that one battle. And they lost 20 million people in the war. And had they not done that, I don't know how much worse it could be than Trump, but it would be like living under the Ku Klux Klan directly. It wouldn't be him praising them. They would be in the White House. That's fascism. That's the Nazis. So we need a different world. I believe in revolution, and I'll get all of you who would like a copy of Progressive Labor Party's newspaper in the back part of the paper as an ongoing series of articles about the Russian Revolution. There was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, I'm going to do a rap for you today.
Oh, okay.
But I got to give you the background, okay? Let's see if I can get it right, because I haven't done it for a while. So in Louisiana, about 10 years ago, there was a little town called Jenna. Jenna had a high school, and at one time they planted a tree in the courtyard. It was the only tree. Students go out there at lunchtime, and this was supposed to be the racial harmony tree. But years later, it turned into its opposite, and a group of white students one day hung a noose from it. And the next day, some of the black students were righteously angry, and they decided to sit under the tree. And then over the next period of days, there were a series of fights. So 5 of the black students were charged with very serious charges, using deadly weapons, which was somebody's tennis shoe and so on, even though some of the white students had guns. In the end, 5 black students were jailed, facing up to 30 years. Michael Bell is the one who is probably most famous from that period. So this is a rap about that, but I got to teach you the beat. I need your help. Beat goes like this. Let me keep it going. Got a revelation, a revolution. Got a revelation, a revolution. Racism put Michael Bell in a cell of a system so sick it can never get well. Show me a noose, I'll show you an illness. Prejudice, bro. You know it's killing us. Move beyond race, shoulder to shoulder, together as one, stronger and bolder. Under the tree, anti-racists had rallied, but later an assembly was gathered. The Jenna DA, cops at his side, each one with the gun, faced students inside. The DA then eyed your black women and men. I can end your lives with the stroke of a pen. Deep threats, shallow mentality, divide and conquer, desired eventuality. Deep threats, shallow mentality, divide and conquer, desired eventuality. Capitalists want us to be weak, divided by race, paid poorly and meek. With liberal politicians given comfort but falsely devoted for real to their bosses, bank vaults, see they're loyal to big business power, low wages, making profit each hour. The only solution, a new way of life. No rich, no poor, no racial strife. A world of equality, that's what we need. Just like the Jenna 6, we all must be free. Revelation, a revolution. Got a revelation, a revolution.